Hello, today we are going to address the question, where did my yoga practice go? We're going to talk about how to sustain your own practice as a yoga teacher, because it is a common problem when we begin studying and teaching yoga. We get busy with all of our studies and preparation and admin and teaching, and we can start to lose track of our own practice. Not all at once, perhaps, but slowly over time, our own yoga needs can get shifted to the back burner. And this is a common problem in any teaching or helping profession where our focus starts to shift onto sharing with others. And we sometimes then start to lose energy in our own practice and focus on what our own needs might be. So, this week we're going to talk about some strategies, but first we're going to do a little bit of self inquiry so that you can make conscious choices about what will inspire and support your practice, and then choose strategies that are going to work best for you at this stage of your life and this stage of your yoga development. So, this is a question that I get a lot from students, and I've definitely struggled with myself as a teacher over the years, how to create and maintain a really nourishing and a steady yoga practice as a busy teacher, especially when the whole process of teaching takes up so much of your energy and time. Depending on how much you teach and whatever else you have going on in your life, you might have hours every week of program development and admin and bookkeeping and student support and emails and social media and traveling between classes, and then, of course, the teaching component. And in my own experience as a full time teacher, this it was kind of an illusion. It made me feel like my whole life was invested in yoga. Meanwhile, my own practice, where I got what I needed, where I filled my own cup, just kind of faded into the background. And this is common for many yoga teachers and is a common symptom of, or even a cause of, yoga teacher burnout. So it's something that we do have to pay attention to. With all of our focus on teaching, we can lose touch with our own practice, the practice that's just for you. Because remember, when you're on the mat in front of your students, that's not your practice. Even when you're participating in a class, if you're thinking about, oh, this is a cool prop, or oh, that's a great sequence, that's also kind of not for you, right? That's for your students. So we have to think about maintaining the practice that's going to nourish you, your body and mind, and find space for that. Um, we might fall out of our practice because of lack of time or energy or repetitive strain or, as I said, burnout. Um, but what I've experienced a lot is your practice becomes a place to strategize for your next class rather than a place for you to be with yourself. So, if this is something that you're facing, I do have lots of strategies to share, but I think it's a really good idea to begin with some self inquiry to understand your needs and aims as you're evolving as a yoga student and teacher. So, you might like to take some notes on this, so that you can take some time to journal this a little bit later on. And there's no one size fits all answers, but these are a few questions that I think might be useful in helping to choose strategies that might work for you. And the first is to think about, what are your practice goals now? Once you begin your deeper study of yoga, your perspective on yoga changes so much. Yoga gets so much bigger. And you might find that your practice needs and aims and interests shift. So take some time to consider what your practice goals are now. Do you want to develop your practice in a particular direction? Do you want to explore more movement complexity? Do you want to try fancy yoga tricks? Or are you really interested in developing meditation or mudra or breath work or exploring a particular lineage or sequence style? you might find that you have different aims or perspectives as your practice and your teaching and your understanding of yoga evolves. So your practice aims might change, and that's okay. So that's the first question, is to think about what your practice goals are now. The second question is, what kind of movement do you need now? Is it strengthening? Is it stretching? Is it flow? Is it balance? Is it stillness, or relaxation or recovery? If you're deep into your yoga um, teacher training right now, you might really need to focus on the style and the sequencing and the poses that you're studying in order to integrate and understand and develop your skills for teaching. But you also might find that you need to balance, or particularly once you start teaching, that you need to compensate for a lot of teaching. So, for example, if you do teach a lot of vinyasa, you might find that now you need more restorative yoga in your practice, or meditation, or maybe you need more strength training or cardio. So that's the second question. What kind of movement do you need now? The third question is, what will fill your cup? So this question asks you to consider what kind of energy you'd like to receive at the moment. As a teacher, you're putting so much energy out into the world. What do you need to receive in order to renew your own energy? Is it the energy of community, or do you need more seclusion? Do you need playful, curious exploration, or do you need structure and routine? Do you need time in rest or in ritual or contemplation? Um, really importantly, do you need someone else to hold space for you as a student? So, this question, what will help you fill your cup right now as you start to really put lots of energy out into the world as a teacher? And then my fourth question is, where do you need freedom and where do you need boundaries? So, this is, follow me on this. Do you need to set some ground rules for yourself about ensuring that you have a minimum of practice time for yourself each week? Or do you need some freedom to kind of go with the flow of each week? Do you need to set boundaries about how much time you engage in movement or certain times of movement in order to, again, reduce burnout, reduce repetitive strain? Do you need to carve out time that you won't fill with another task for others, a time that's dedicated just to you and to your practice and your needs? Um, so consider whether scheduling and tracking your practice is productive for you or is limiting for you at this stage. Um, and what I mean by that, like if you don't get to the class that you intended, can you give yourself the freedom to do a short flow in the lounge room instead? Progress rather than perfection. So think about where you need boundaries and where you might need to give yourself some freedom to kind of go with the flow and find practice space where you can. So those are some questions that I hope you find useful to kind of inquire about what your rhythm is right now, what your needs are, and what kind of energy you need from your practice. And that, I think, is going to help when it comes to choosing practice strategies. So once you've done some reflecting on what your needs and what your challenges are, some of the following strategies might be of use to you. So first is to practice for you and not just your students. Because we do spend so much of our time thinking about our students and picking up new ideas and planning new sequences and readings or ideas for our classes. And all of that is great and that passion is amazing, but we also need our own practice that is just for us, for our needs, our goals, and our energy. So you might find, like I have, that you need to make some rules about what practices are just for you and what practices can be for your learning. So, like, if you find yourself really over intellectualizing in classes, or like me, I had a little notebook in class where I'm writing down cool props and sequences and ideas that I wanted to try in my own classes. If you find yourself doing that, you might need to set some boundaries with yourself about what classes are just for you as a student and what classes can be for you as a teacher. So in my own life, I remember a period of time where I was really passionately learning. I was going to 6 classes a week. I said, okay, 3 of those classes can be for me as a teacher, where I'm learning and writing things in my notebook like a total yoga nerd. And the other 3 classes have to be just for me, where I'm not thinking about my classes, I'm not thinking about my students, I'm in my body, I'm in my breath, and this is going to help fulfill my needs. And over time, as I develop my teaching practice, I'm going to take away some of those teaching classes and give them back to myself. So I didn't want to squish my passion for learning and developing my teaching, but I also really had to make sure that I had practice that was just for me. So that worked for me. It might work for you. You also might find it useful to set a schedule. So to establish a realistic and specific and engaging schedule for your own movement and meditation, breath work, any other yoga practices. That might be to start the morning in bed doing a meditation, or it might be to schedule the classes that you're going to. What can be helpful to getting to classes, if you're finding that that's an obstacle, is to have a yoga buddy. So if you're a social person and you have a yoga friend, it can be really helpful with motivation and accountability and fun to have a yoga buddy where you commit to going to classes together every week, or meeting up together and doing a video class or a self practice. Having a yoga buddy can really help with maintaining your practice. Also, yoga snacks. Never forget yoga snacks. Remember that you don't have to do a full practice every day to have a regular practice. Yoga snacks, which are shorter, maybe more focused yoga moments, have so many benefits, and they are easier to fit into a busy life while keeping yoga a part of your day. So if you're not getting to those 60-minute or 90-minute classes, can you do 15 minutes of practice on your mat at some point in the day, or a wind down practice in bed at night as you go to sleep? Like, finding little moments for yoga, not just asana practice, but breath work, meditation, philosophy and ethics. Little bits of yoga really add up to having to maintaining your yoga practice, maintaining your inspiration, and keep your cup filled. So never forget your yoga snacks. Next, do what you love. So a key to regularity in any habit or any practice is doing something you enjoy. So if you aren't loving certain poses or certain sequences or styles at the moment, it's okay to set them aside. You don't have to do the thing that you hate all the time. Do what you love, and you'll look forward to your practice, and that will help you maintain practice momentum. Okay? Do what you love. Next is energy in and energy out. So engage in practices and activities that do fill your cup. Pay attention to your need for self-care and for support and for space and for recovery. Get more aware of how much of your energy is going out into the world and how much energy you're bringing back in, and what practices bring that energy back in. And on that note, find inspirations. So seek out new ideas and inspiring people or practices. Receive support or mentoring or coaching, and engage in fresh ideas or new perspectives. I really find that staying curious can really help to keep the energy and momentum in your practice. And that means that you can give yourself permission to explore outside of your lineage. You aren't cheating on your own lineage or style if you explore other forms of yoga. And that might mean exploring other forms of like modern postural yoga or movement, or you might explore traditional lineages or meditation or kirtan or mantra or yoga philosophy. Yoga's enormous, and so there's always something to kind of explore outside of your world. Um, and that leads me to movement diversity. So this is something that we've learned a lot from athletics, that it really helps to reduce repetitive strain injury and reduce burnout if we have more types of movement in our lives. So again, you're not cheating on yoga if you try out new types of movement beyond yoga. You might add walking or hiking, strength training, Pilates, dance, swimming, cycling, soccer. Um, Having more variety in your movement practice reduces the risk of injury, it reduces the risk of burnout, and it's fun. And we can always find things to bring from other practices into our yoga practice. There's always something to learn that can inspire our own practice and our teaching. Uh, Next is to build community. And this is going to look different for different people, but I highly recommend putting in some effort to build and maintain your yoga community, in particular, fellow teachers, because it can be a bit lonely being a yoga teacher. And I know that it takes time and it takes energy, which you might be short on, but the rewards are so worth it. So if you don't have a community of other teachers, it's worth it to put the time and energy into building that. Other people to give and receive support and to maintain the energy in your practice. Um, and one way that you can do that is to trade classes with a friend, especially if the cost of attending classes is an obstacle. You can make a trade with a friend to attend each other's classes at no cost. And it's a great way to hold space for each other, um, and to share ideas and to keep learning. And the bonus is then you have a backup teacher for times when you're unable to teach your own class. You've got a friend who knows your class and knows your students who can step in for you should you ever need it. So that's one way that you can develop community and maintain your practice, is trading classes with a yoga teacher friend. Um, Okay, this has been a lot. Let me say one more thing. And that is, you might need to adjust your expectations. Maybe while you're in the depths of yoga teacher training, or once you start teaching yoga, your practice won't look the same as it did before. But it can still be a valuable and rewarding and nourishing practice. I think that it's important when we think about the longevity of our practice, to acknowledge the natural ebbs and flows of practice. Practice is not a fixed thing, it's a fluid thing, and it's not measured in days or weeks. You know, we consider the rhythm of our practice over seasons, months, years. And there's going to be times where your practice is really exciting and full. And sometimes your practice is going to be finding shorter moments to spend with yourself in time and space. And that may or may not be on your mat. Um, okay, that has been really a lot. I hope you've found these inquiries and strategies of use. Perhaps you'll pick up one or two to bring to your practice this week. Um, just one final reminder that while your energy is pouring into holding space for others, remember that it can be really lovely to have someone else hold space for you. So if you are feeling a bit burned out or lonely or stuck, or you've lost momentum in your practice, get to a class. pop on a video, pull out a yoga book, let someone else be the teacher today to pour some energy into your cup. That is all from me for today. If you want the transcript notes, if you haven't been jotting notes along the way, you can find them on the blog at yogatrinity.com. And you can find more of our yoga discussions there or on our YouTube channel at Yoga Trinity Training. And I thank you for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all soon. Bye.